What's up, everyone? I'm officially in Australia. Well, I've been in Australia for a while. Gonna bring you up to speed. We actually came into Sydney, met up with Vaughn and Anya and my wife and my daughter, and we've been having just a great time. They've been touring us all over. It's been amazing. Vaughn is super hospitable, and we've been staying at his house the last couple days. I've got to go around the factory. We did a tour yesterday, and unfortunately, right before headed out, check engine light came on my vehicle that I'm driving, and so we took it to the dealership, needed a new injector, so we didn't want to head out and get on the Tally track thousands of miles away and have an engine problem. So we got that fixed, so we're running now a day late. Hey, and this is like good advice to anybody that's going out to adventure and camp. Always expect delays. Things don't always go according to plan, so we've kind of had to shift things around. This is what I'm going to be driving. So this is the Land Cruiser. It's the 300 series, and you can see we got solar panels, racks, tire tracks. We're going to need all of this because tomorrow we're going to Fraser Island. This is going to be my vehicle. You can see we got running boards. This is pretty sweet. I'll probably do like some vehicle tours later on. The guy behind the camera, Brandon. You want to show yourself, Brandon? Say hello. You guys have seen Brandon if you've watched some of our videos.
What's up? This might be kind of zoomed in.
Yeah. So Brandon's going to be driving the Nissan Patrol. This is a V8. I think I got a V6. Come on. Whatever, you know. There's going to be 3 camera guys on this trip, and I'm in the her MDC. So I don't know how I feel about that. Vaughn, that's okay. No, actually, I'm super grateful. I've actually never driven a 300 series Land Cruiser, so I'm super excited just to experience everything here. I've also never driven a Patrol either. I've never driven any of these vehicles. I drive a 2500 Ram. So, but check it out. We got snorkels, we got rooftop tents. This is sweet. This is legit. We are overlanding in Australia. This is like, I'm so excited. This is going to be a long trip. We're almost going to be 3 weeks off-roading, off-grid, camping in caravans or trailers. So this is going to be awesome. I'm going to walk around. We're at the factory, so I want to walk around, point some things out. This isn't going to be a factory tour because we already did that yesterday, but I just wanted to go and kind of bring Brandon up to speed. He just flew in last night, so he hasn't seen it. So I want to show him some cool stuff. There's also some cool models here and trailers and classes that we don't have in the US, so I wanted to kind of tease some of that stuff. Some of them we might never get in the US just because, sorry. But if we get enough comments on this video, we could potentially get some. This is like their post-sale warranty team. There's just 2 guys here right now, but normally this place is full. And they actually also have some remote guys, an additional, I think 3 or 4 is what I heard. So, I mean, they got like a staff of like 8 to 10 warranty, post-sale. It's pretty cool. I was talking with Vaughn about this. It's really important that they support the post-sale stuff, it's pretty apparent when you come in and there's, you know, close to 10 people. So this is technically the headquarters. This is kind of their factory assembly, you know, where when the units get shipped in, they get assembled here. But this is kind of the HQ. They have 8 stores all over Australia, I believe. And then, of course, the dealers in the US. But these guys support the US. There's also support in the US. There's multiple warranty people in California as well. But this is pretty cool. I love to see all the trophies. You know, go down here, winner camper trailer of the year. That was in 2016. Camper Caravan Excellence of 2024. Caravan Association Industry and Recognition 10-year membership. Anyways, they had some of these camper trailers 2024, 2014, 2017. So very cool. So I mean, 2014, that's 10 years ago. They were getting awards for being camper trailer of the year, and it seems like in the last 10 years it's just evolved and gotten better and better. So they've just been constantly look, I mean, here we have the Go RV MTC. This is the greatest vans of 2024, and this is the XT19 HRT, which everybody in the US has, so you can be happy about that. Ours is technically a little bit better. has a bigger battery system. The Energy is 800 amps. I think there's a 600 amps. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, there we go.
Sure.
We're wandering around. I like to see all the awards. I was talking.
Yeah. Richie.
That's Richie. Richie, he's head of North America, so let's come. Sorry, we were headed out to the workshop, Santa's workshop. Gotta have a vest. Gotta follow the rules. Gotta safety is number one. So one of the things that in the tour yesterday that James was talking about, which is their he's like over a head of production. He's the business manager, developer. He develops like products, oversees development of all the products, the engineers. He is constantly at the manufacturer, their China plant that they go to, and he's like overseeing everything built, designs it in the CAD design, put it together, and then he's overseeing that stuff. He said that they carry parts, floor to ceiling parts. These are actually not parts for assembly. These are actually parts for service and warranty.
All right, Shane, so we're standing in our purchasing and stores department, and as you can see, we've got plenty of it. Here in Australia alone, we hold over $1 million worth of spare parts in our stores.
Spare parts for just post-sale?
Yeah, so for supporting our customers, we've got over 15 years worth of legacy customers that will need spare parts, so we hold for them.
Oh, wow.
Also spare parts for current builds, current models, and that doesn't include all the parts that you see here that are actually part of our manufacturing process.
Okay, very cool. That's cool. And I hear you're building that up a little bit in the US. We're getting some.
Absolutely.
Some
so we're going to have our online store for spare parts up and running shortly.
Okay.
And Blake from your team, he'd be very familiar contacting our team to get parts for your customers.
Yeah, I was talking to the parts guy and he was like, oh yeah, I talk to you all the time. I'm like, not me, but you talking to somebody all the time. I think it's Blake. I think Blake Blake raves about the MDC team and just the responsiveness. Even though we're on the other side of the world, different time zones, he's just like super happy with, if you don't know, he's our tech support post-sale. He's like helping people get their units fixed, warranted and everything. And yeah, they rave about your team over here. So
yeah, so this is our factory in Brisbane. We've also got a factory in California in the US. And so we stock the US parts there.
Yeah.
As you know, some of the standards are different, some of the parts are different. But what's really important for our customers, right? Because they're using these things off-road, off-grid, and they're actually beating the snot out of them. Beating the snot out of them. Do you know what that means?
Oh!
You hit a rock!
That is the coolest abuse of any trailer I've ever seen.
And you know, it's easy to bump up against things, break simple things. So you need to have the spare parts in stock, ready for the customers so they can get it quickly, so they can keep going on their travels.
yeah, and this is awesome. And you got multiple rows through here, floor to ceiling.
Yes, stock take's always an interesting time of year for us.
Yeah.
Which is coming up
It is.
shortly, right?
Very, very
This
soon.
week, end of this week.
The team.
And that's why I'm going on this trip. When stock take comes, I don't like stock take. I'm not out of here.
They go count. And
I make it the
everybody's-
accountant's problem, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, geez, that's gonna be a job. Yeah, we'll be up somewhere in between Fraser and York. What is
Somewhere.
it?
Yeah. Make sure you're out of service during that period.
We haven't told you how far north we're going yet.
Oh, geez, Papua New Guinea.
Maybe.
Get on a barge.
Yeah. So it's not just parts here. We've also got parts over here.
Yeah.
So these are majority of the smaller parts. And as you can see, everything's organized very well. So we have rows,
Okay.
sections. And so in our ERP, if you wanted a certain part, you could look it up and you can say, okay, it's on shelf K2. The team knows exactly where to go, where to get it.
Wait, so can I come back and I want to point something out that I noticed, and I'm just curious if you can give me some information on this. So it looks like we have Sitka 521 UV.
Mhm.
What is that for?
So that's for a lot of our roof-based work and our general external assembly. We use Sika extensively in our builds, and that's for longevity and quality of seal. Because as we all know, at the end of the day, these do go off-road, so we want to make sure that what we're putting on there to make sure that they're watertight is top of the range.
So I'm pretty familiar with this stuff to some degree. We don't use it in the U.S. and on the trailers or travel trailers. They use a Dicor lap sealant. Generally, it's good for 1 to 2 years, hopefully 2 years, for sure 1 year, usually. Depends on the sun. And it's atrocious. This stuff is really expensive compared to Dicor lap sealant.
For sure.
So what are you using this? You said the floor, the
yeah,
roof.
so for a lot of the roof work, and then a lot of the general sealing on the outside, so things like sealing up and fitting external lights. So
yeah, so if you don't know what that is, throw it in ChatGPT and do comparisons to Dicor lap sealant versus SikaFlex 521 UV. This stuff is supposed to technically last a decade or longer under like UV, and lap sealant is like maybe 12 months.
Yeah, and Shane, another thing too, right? It's not about just slapping on the SikaFlex. You actually have to do primer first. So that cleans everything up, so you get a good bond between the SikaFlex and the surface. And I mean, that's another cost. That's cost of materials, cost of time.
So, no, 100%. So, I mean, I personally had a brand new motorhome, little teeny RV, and like in its first year, right before the season, I was like, you know, the lap sealant should be fine. It's only like 5 months old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just get up on the roof just to check it. And it was all cracking. And I was like, I mean, when I got it to when that was put on at the factory, may have been a few months, right? So I'm like, less than a year, I was up there tearing it and putting all new sealant down on and I just thought that this is wild. Because people always ask, in the US, you can buy a trailer for pretty cheap, 20 grand. But when you're like, this type of stuff is going to be 4 times the cost. And when you do all that, I guess it just adds up, right?
And the prep work too, as Vaughan said, that takes up the time, but it's doing it properly. So it's preparing it, it's sanding back and actually preparing the surfaces first, priming it with the primer, and then using the correct sealants when you put stuff down. Yeah,
those are, there's just, I think there's hundreds or probably thousands of details of stuff that you guys are going to do that other standard US manufacturers aren't going to do. And
yeah, well, we're building a robust off-road product, right? And so it's going to get the worst experiences that a customer could give it. So it's best to build it right in the first place. We've been doing this for a very long time, so we know how to build a strong, robust travel trailer.
Yeah.
We went over some of this stuff yesterday, which I thought was really cool. They talk about the primer, the Sika primer, which is when you clean off the roof, you prime it, and then you apply the SikaFlex. This is the 521 UV. The most common stuff in the US is a Dicor that they put on roofs that can last maybe 12 months. Generally, you have to get up there twice a year to inspect it and sometimes maintain it. This stuff is supposed to last like 10 years with no maintenance whatsoever, which is freaking awesome. The other thing is this is like 3 to 4 times more expensive than Dicor. And that's what the Dicor is, like the standard that they use in the US. This stuff is like marine yacht, really high end, high quality, but it's gonna prevent leaks, right? As long as you're applying it properly, it's gonna just be so good. Anyway, we're gonna wander over to where assembly is happening, and I'll kind of show you.
So the first step typically is the units will come in and go into our hoist bay, which is where we are standing right now. They'll go on the hoist and we'll do some of the underbody work. So typically that will involve some form of work on the suspension, putting the brakes potentially on and the tires, doing some wheel alignments, checking the torque of some of the bolts and things like that.
Very cool. I like getting underneath that. We don't have a hoist at our shop right now, so nice to be able to walk under here without.
Sure. So the teams have, both in our Australian assembly facility as well as our plant in the US, have assembly checklists. So each of the bays will have a checklist that they'll be following exactly what they need to do for each model and to check. So they'll be checking the underbody for little things as well. So then from here, once the tyres are on, the suspension's all set up and they're essentially at a rolling stage, we'll lower the hoist and then they'll get wheeled over to roof bay, which we'll head over to now.
Okay. And then, so this is an Australian model.
Yes.
The US models don't come here. They go straight to the US, right? And they land there, and that's where they'll get their final assembly.
For sure.
So what we're seeing under here is not going to be what you would necessarily, very similar.
Similar, yeah, not too dissimilar, but not exactly the same as well.
Yeah, very cool.
When you're building off-road products, it's very important that you protect all the wiring, water lines, everything. You see most of everything's protected, it's out of the way. We do sort of run things through chassis rather than under chassis because, you know, the lowest point's going to be an impact point.
Yeah.
And so everything's kept high
Yeah, up here.
and very well protected.
And then your corrugated plastic too, to protect it
Yes.
from rubbing or chafing.
And then you can see this floor, right? It's a full composite floor. So that could never be affected by water or moisture. It's impossible.
Yeah, so you're not going to have any type of mold or rot.
Correct. Bash plates on the water tanks.
Now, the funny thing is this is not an off-road. This is your sealed road. This is your SR editions in Australia.
Correct.
This looks like an off-road trailer though.
It's a little bit, materials are a little bit thinner,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of the protections are there. So this particular trailer is warranted to go along any sealed road
Yeah.
and then maybe about 1 kilometre of dirt track or to get to like a campground. Because typically when you go in the remote areas, when you come off the road, the campground's going to be a bit of a dirt track,
Yeah.
1 kilometre or so down the road. So it's built for that. We always build things stronger than what we need, but it's definitely an on-road vehicle, this one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, compared to what I see in the US, this thing is very robust. Nothing here was here yesterday, so this is a completely different lineup of stuff. They actually had the Sild Road units on here. This was a Sild Road, now it's a Fort 9 off-road caravan. So Sild Road here is like, it's like pavement. That's what they call pavement, is Sild Road. So it's like their on-road series, which their on-road series is more robust than any off-road trailer that I've seen. I mean, like when you compare it to like, I don't know, like the Nobos, even the Embers, their Sild Road stuff is way better than our, I mean, like in the US, what some of the manufacturers are calling off-road is kind of disgraceful compared to their on-road stuff. But you can see everything starts over here. They put all the underbelly stuff, and then it goes over to here. And this is roof assembly. So most of the roof stuff gets done here in-house, but come over here.
So we're looking at the roof of our XT19 HRT, which is very similar to the XT19 HRT Off-Grid Extreme model in the US. And as you can see here, the team are getting the roof ready to fit the solar panels. So we've already got the brackets down. The air conditioner will be going on shortly, and we've been putting things like skylights in. So as we alluded to before, the team have already prepared this section and primed it ready for sealing down, and just actually sealing it down as we speak.
Okay, this is very cool. So these are the brackets for the solar panels. Well, those are actually thick. Those are like 1/8 inch. What's that, aluminum?
3 mil? Yes, it's about a 3 mil bracket.
Yeah, that's actually really thick. That's a.
And then they are bolted to that, so they're not just screwed to the roof. They're very, very well secured.
They're like through bolted, or is there like an actual?
The panels have threads within them that we preset, so the teams just slip it in, and then we bolt them through with bolts.
As you know, we only use glass panels, very important.
Yeah.
So they sit off the roof. If you just stick a panel directly to the roof, they get too hot and they can actually get spots that burn through them. So we only use the glass panels, sit up, get air underneath, keep them cool, more efficient.
So here we are on the roof. A few things that I learned yesterday. Number one, so See this? This is actually a bolt with a lock washer on it. And it goes through, if you come down here, I don't know if you can see this. It's really hard to see. But they actually put a bolt on this side, so it threads in. This is a threaded bolt. Also, this bracket here is a about 1/8 inch thick still. We've had solar panels fly off the roofs because these brackets were either like half as thick or they rivet. They do these pop rivets, and rivets can be okay, but the ones that they were using, they were just not strong enough, so they were tearing. Because when you think about it, it's like wind, lots of wind is hitting up here. And so sometimes wind would catch up and rip them off the roof. I just love how these are actually bolted and really thick brackets. And then also these brackets go onto here. Another really cool thing is, and I didn't see this until yesterday, which I can't show you right now because the solar panels are put on here, but the actual port for all the electrical is right here. It's underneath. You can actually probably go under here and see it. But, you know, so you have all your wiring is underneath the panel.
Yep, I see it.
And of course, James was talking, one of the things that he was talking about, why that's so important, is because if the sun and the UV rays are always beaten down right on that entry port, right? It's going to try and crack easier. Also, you're going to have all the wind and cables, right? If you have cables coming out and you hit a branch or a tree, it could grab the cable and rip it out, right? So all the cabling is underneath each solar panel. That's not common. So most trailers, when you get on the roof, they'll actually just run the wire here and then they'll daisy chain them all together. And so you'll just see wires running all over the roofs. And then there's usually a giant hole right here, and they're all kind of spider webbing to that entry, and it's going down into one area. So they do have all the wiring, but it's inside through the roof, right? So they run all that wiring through the roof to wherever it needs to get to get to the batteries, right? But the actual ports are underneath here, protected from the UV, the sun, can't get grabbed by branches. I just think that's really thoughtful in the design. Everything about it. And I never really actually connected it, but like this roof is so clean. You have your TV antenna, you have your solar panels and your air conditioner. There's no wiring running all over the place. The other thing is, like I said, how sometimes they get riveted on here. If you did ever have an issue, these are bolts. So you just unbolt it and then you can lift the panel to service it if you needed to, right? And so that's another cool thing, that it's just easy to pull out, service. Otherwise you're busting the rivets and then you have to re-rivet or bolt it back together. Anyway, I just thought that was really cool from the tour yesterday, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. Love it. I love little things like that.
So we've gone through from the back here, we looked at roof build, then we go into general build. Now we're going to have a quick look at our quality control gates or our QC process. So we here at Market Direct Group, we have a fully custom built QC program, and all of the QC officers run an iPad. So depending on what model they choose at the beginning, it will populate the specific questions based on the model that they're looking at.
Okay.
And it could have up to 200 different checkpoints for them to look at.
Okay.
And right now we're on the water test page, and it's talking about all things like testing all taps, take photos, check waste pipe has no leaks. So that amount of detail, and a lot of it actually has forced photos as well.
Yeah, and it says test on cold water, test on hot water. I think this is, hey, I picked up a trailer, and until we actually were doing the handover with the customer, it was so embarrassing, one of the worst. I turned on the cold, and I always tell them, hey, turn on the cold, turn on the hot, so they can
Sure.
fill it, and then we check it off at the handover. Yeah. And I'm like, turn on the cold in the shower. And he turned it on at the hot first, and it was cold and cold and cold, and it never got hot.
Yeah.
And then he turned it to cold, and it got hot.
Yeah.
So like the manufacturer just
had messed up the cold and water
Yeah.
pipes on the back.
I can guarantee they didn't test them,
For sure.
right? We were the ones that tested them with the customer.
So we run the exact same system, but US model specific with our US assembly plant and team.
Oh, that's so cool. I haven't seen this. This is very cool.
So one of the good things about this, not only does it ensure that we check everything thoroughly, but we've got a very, very good record of every single unit. So if we ever need to look back at any particular unit, and see the history of it, see some photos of things, we have a record at our fingertips.
Cool. That's incredible.
So then after that, we go to our weighbridge. So every single one of our units are weighed in Australia on our weighbridge. It's a full digital system, and it basically populates the information and sends it to the government, because our Australian government here require you to state the actual weight
Of the unit.
before
That's
you
incredible.
send it out.
It seems like the rules in Australia are way more strict than in the US.
Yeah, they're different, I think, is probably the best way to put it. There's a lot of differences in the American rules. I'd suggest perhaps maybe in the Australian market, they're a little bit more enforced and actively enforced across the government level, perhaps.
They might both be strict, but here they're actually enforced. And that's why you have to do these like mandatory.
Oh, and it's the right thing to do. I mean, customers, at the end of the day, they're spending a lot of money on these things. They want to know that what they're buying weighs what it says on the brochure, so that they can tow safely.
That makes sense. That is very cool.
What's this? This is the gold class Caravan. So this is a brand new model that they've just released, and this is supposed to be like just top of the line. This one has been out, I think, in shows, and I'm gonna show you some things. Just walk you around really quick.
Is this a new line? Is it?
This is a totally new line of caravans. So they have like the traditional MDC XT off-road, off-grid, and then they released that, I think around 2024, they released the Sailed Roads, which are their on-road campers. And this is like their luxe, like premium, top of the line, totally new brand and everything that they're building. But these things are like very much like the QC, the quality that you see, but just now all the plush.
Well, even from the start, I don't mind those decals, and I love the GCC up there. That's actually an emblem, or
It's like a carbon fiber emblem, right? I don't think it's real carbon fiber, but it has that look.
yeah.
Styling, that carbon fiber styling. Yeah, and they're actually elevated, so they're not stickers. They're never gonna delaminate or pill. This is like, the storage is just super big. You have, I mean, so they use all the diesel heaters here in Australia, but you also have access to it over here. So it's just easier to get to stuff. One of the things that, you want to see something? This thing is, so this is going to be your fridge compartment, obviously, but come look at this.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
wow.
Check this out. Isn't that sweet? Car around here. So this
It's like
is
a
a
powder
coated black, right? This thing comes up. You know,
I didn't think their kitchen could get better though.
isn't that amazing? I love that we got the GCC. Look how they divided it, gave some extra stuff. Doesn't that look so cool? Oh man. Oh man. What do you think? Tell us what you think. This thing is really cool and beautiful. Okay, let's walk. And just here's another one good. This is a marine grade, so you can hook up your phone, Bluetooth, Fusion, play some music. Check that out.
What's that?
We got some airbag, man. Here we go. Back it up a little bit. There we go. We know about these, right? These are awesome. But you know what's really cool? Watch this. This is a feature that I've never seen. So I'm dropping this side down. I put the other side up, so now I'm crooked. I'm all like wompus, and I'm like, hey, I want to get on the road and get back to camp. So I just flip these auto, and it just auto sets it back to drive mode, and I'm ready to go. So there's no like
where do I set it, up or down or this or what height? You just throw it on auto and it's gonna set it back to your perfect ride height.
That's
There you
sick.
have it. Isn't that cool? Because this is actually a huge issue that we've had with airbags where people are overinflating, underinflating. We even have it from the manufacturer, like the drivers that will pick it up, they'll underinflate and then they're driving the trailer and it's just on bump stops the whole way down. And it's like no suspension, right? So it's tearing the trailer apart, right? Or bouncing everything. And so if you go all the way max up, you have no cushion. If you go all the way down, you have no cushion. So it's like flip it to drive mode, auto, and there you go. And then when you get to camp, you can level side to side. And isn't that awesome? I love that. These are the things. So I talked a lot with Vaughn over the last year or so when he would come out about airbags. And he's like, yeah, but mate, we want to make sure like there's not use or air where people are going to be doing and taking it out and having issues and problems. And so we would just want to use it and try to find the most optimal way so that we can eliminate all those pain points, because we don't ever want to have warranty. And I think that's really cool. That's the conversation we always have. And he's always like, no, we don't want to have warranty. We want things to always just run. And I'm like, it's really cool that they're always thinking those things through. And you can see that in those little details. This is a massive pass-through storage all the way through. Of course, they got tire ladder. Check that out. They also have the full arm awning. So these are way more robust in the wind. Check this out. Got a little trash can. I like. And then you go and empty the rubbish. And then this screen, so this is actually like, this is aluminum. This is a metal screen. So similar to the ones that you've seen, but it's just a very fine, but it's still that nice hardcore kangaroo proof, bear proof, Yeti, Sasquatch, gorilla proof, whatever you want proof.
So Shane, we're going to be going on a trip tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are you going to be towing?
So I'm going to be towing an XL15 4E. Is that what it's called here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what we call it in the US. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be towing it with a Land Cruiser 300 series.
Correct.
Is that right? We don't have that in the US. Well, I think we do now, but they're more rare. So, and then I'm super excited. I wanted to see this though, because I love, this is like a jam. But now we're going to go out and we're going to be 3 weeks camping.
We are.
It's going to be mad. I'm excited and nervous all at the same time.
It's going to be awesome. So we might as well go pack and let's get into the next part of our Australian adventure.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.